Almighty God, who in influence and prudential governance have appointed the officers of leaders and parliaments for the research strategies common to humanity, we beseech you to look upon with the abundant favor these your servants, who may be pleased call the performance of such important trust in this land. Let your blessings shine upon the assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, fit and consider matters to come at the deliberation, be so just and fundamental to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to your church.
Item 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I want to welcome you, sincerely welcome you to this afternoon sitting. I can see the chair presidential is squeezed. It's free sitting, feel free. Unless if you're looking for some warmth. I want to sincerely welcome you to today's sitting, this afternoon sitting. Last week, we did not sit for Wednesday and Thursday because I was giving committees time to finish the work which was before them. And since we are measured by how many bills that we pass, how many motions that we pass in the House, I had to give committees time to finish the bills that were before them. Today we have one bill, and we should be able to have bills for the whole of this week. The committees that have bills must finish their bills, and we must finish them, and we shall be counted by the number of bills that were passed in this House. And I want to thank you sincerely. Last week, you passed 8 bills in one day. I want to thank you so much. And as we committed ourselves, we are going to be a people-centered parliament. We'll do everything that is humanly possible to help our voters outside there. There are a lot of issues out there. I was told there was a demonstration on the coffee seedlings. The issue is going to be handled. The issue of the coffee seedlings was discussed in this House. I don't think it is right for us to advise our voters to come and demonstrate at the gate, because demonstrating is not going to solve a problem. It's bringing an issue, we debate in this House, we get what can be done for our people. So I ask our people out there to be patient enough. The people you have here are your representatives. They are the voice of the voiceless. They will speak for you. And we'll make sure that these issues are resolved. So you don't need to come and demonstrate in a parliament, because your demonstration will not yield anything. We'll allow you to demonstrate and we move on. But if you brought a document and you agreed a petition, this is what should be done, we'll handle that. I really want to thank you so much. And I wish you a nice deliberation. Matters of on my communication. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On the issues to do with the works of the committee, on 12th of July this year, Honorable Mrule Mukasa was responding to a matter that had been raised by Honorable Samuel Opio on the issues of payment of pension of former employees of EAC. We had been given 30, but I'm requesting you, Madam Speaker, to give us up to 4th of October for us to report back as a committee, because we are still engaging other stakeholders as well.
A chair, write to the speaker and bring it and lay on table. And then we'll give you an extension.
Speaker.
Yes, cross-border.
I really want to thank you for guiding the House ably very well. Madam Speaker, concerning cross-border, I would say congratulations to the people of Kenya and East Africa in general for the recent concluded elections in Kenya. Those elections demonstrated maturity of democracy in our region. And therefore, we encourage our people on the borders to continue so that business is normal as always. Madam Speaker, on your communication, concerning the demonstration of people on the coffee seedlings, the ministries should help Parliament do its work, because our people demonstrate most times because ministries are not communicating with them. There is a very big communication gap between the ministry and our people. Therefore, sometimes they are pressed too much, and that causes them to come and make statements through demonstrations. But however, we believe that time is now, since it is raining, for the ministry to act so that our people can be given seedlings to plant, because agriculture is a key backbone of this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. We expect a report on the coffee seedlings tomorrow. Clerk put it on the order paper. Solomon.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for your elaborate communication to this House, Right, Honorable Speaker, which has been very clear, and I thank you for that. However, Right, Honorable Speaker, last week, I rose on the floor here, Right, Honorable Speaker, concerning the increment of school fees in the different schools, Right, Honorable Speaker. And today, when I entered immediately, I saw the minister coming in, and the term has started and children are stranded at home. Right, Honorable Speaker, I wanted to seek your indulgence if the minister would give us an update of how for that these children who are stuck at home can also go and join their other colleagues who have started school already. Because this issue is really very urgent and very pertinent that is handled. I beg to submit, Right, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Minister, Education.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker and dear colleagues, yesterday, all schools opened for third term, a very important term in the academic year that determines the progress of our children. Therefore, important that everything is done to enable all our children go back to school. About the school fees, the ministry has been very clear. We have communicated to all the stakeholders that there's no increase in school fees. In case there is a need to increase or adjust anything, parents, committees, executive committees, boards of governors, management committees have got to be involved, and the final position secretary. As I talk right, Honorable Speaker, as I talk now, there is the permanent secretary's desk has received only one case, and it's still only one case, but we expect the status quo to remain. Yours, right, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Minister, how did you communicate to the stakeholders, to the owners of the schools?
Right, Honorable Speaker, we have always communicated to schools through the head of institutions by way of a circular.
So where is the circular you communicated in regard to school fees? Can you lay on table?
Right, Honorable Speaker, I don't have it right away, but I think I can provide it.
Can we have that issue discussed thoroughly tomorrow? You must bring evidence that you've communicated school, no increase in school fees.
Most obliged, Director.
Thank you. Yes,
Madam Speaker, as we wait to discuss this matter, you have rightly indicated that this House, the performance is measured on the bills and motions and petitions that we do process. And Right Honorable Speaker, related to the school fees issue, I raised I presented a motion here on the grant-aided schools that government gives money, pays their teachers, but you find they even charge more than universities. And that motion, Right Honorable Speaker, has been before the Education Committee for over 6 months. Right Honorable Speaker, is it not time? If the committee cannot process, this House should discuss this motion and amend my prayers, and we move on. Because 6 months, Right Honorable Speaker, we're about to end this session again before yes. Can I take the information, Right Honorable?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Sarah, Honorable Sarah, sorry to call you Right Honorable. I sit on the Committee of Education, and we've been trying our best to process that motion. Even today, 10 o'clock, we held a meeting about the same. Unfortunately, my chairperson is not here. Before I provided the information, I wanted to see whether the chairperson is around. But the information I want to give you, we are on it as a committee. And I hope very soon the chair will be before this House with a report. Thank you.
Honorable members, let's not finish all the time on this. We are going to have the same issue tomorrow. Matters of national importance. Nakaziwe. Grant.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I raise on a matter of national importance concerning the mushrooming plywood factories and the way they operate, more so in Mubende district and Greater Mubende at large. Right Honorable Speaker, Mubende district alone has about 7 plywood factories. I received several complaints from Chenda Town Council, where we have a One Fair International company, which is a plywood factory that employs quite a number of our young boys and girls, which is a credit. But Right Honorable Speaker, my concern is about the smoke that they generate now and then, day and night, that is 24 hours. And even the way they treat our young boys and girls, those that they employ. Right Honorable Speaker, when a boy or a girl gets an injury in that factory, they dismiss them and let them go. It is them to find out how they will treat themselves. There is a one Baluku, Nelson, he comes from Kasese Bundibujo. He was given a job, but when he got injured, they chased him out of the factory, and now he's trying his way out to see that he recovers. Right Honorable Speaker, these factories do not have dining areas. They do not have enough bathrooms and toilets, yet bathing more so for women would be more meaningful when it is private. Right Honorable Speaker, I visited these factories and met the manager with the deputy RDC. We agreed on a few things that needed to be improved. And after some time, I went back. When I went back, the police officer who was manning that place did not allow me in, and he almost shot me because he threatened me that he would actually shoot me. My prayers, Right Honorable Speaker, are one, that this Honorable House takes concern through the relevant committees, more so the one of gender, labor and social development, the one on health, and the one on environment and natural resources, to see how these factories operate and regulate the way they do their work. Right Honorable Speaker, my other prayer is that the concerned ministry, that of Defense and Internal Affairs and the other of Security, looks into the discipline of the police officers that go out to man such private facilities. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Government.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. On the issue of standards for the factories in Mubende, and also issues to do with the environment, pollution, we will follow up, Madam Speaker, and the rights of the workers will follow up. We are going to send a technical team in the next few days, and then we'll be able to report back next week.
Okay, we'll wait for
But also
feedback.
we'll continue to be in touch with the honorable member.
Honorable member, avail all the information. The Honorable
Most
member,
obliged, Right Honorable.
thank you. Ethel,
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I raised on the matter of national importance over the incident that occurred in Wakiso District when a stone quarry caved in on Saturday, September 3rd, 2022 in Kajansi. Right Honorable Speaker, as many of us have really already read, 5 people have already been confirmed dead, and 1 was also a truck driver, and several as per the different names in your office. I submitted this matter. Right Honorable Speaker, we don't have issues, we don't have safety measures, and many other local government labor officers are already incapacitated because the issues that affect the laborers in the casual and informal sector are many. So my prayers, Right Honorable Speaker, depending on this incident and several other incidents that are occurring in the country as far as the informal sector is concerned, I pray to this House, Right Honorable Speaker, that the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development institutes and enforces safety guidelines and measures for artisans and all workers in Uganda, in Uganda's informal sector, and that affected workers in all other trades be accorded legal aid to enable them seek redress whenever accidents occur at the workplace, because it's very much rampant many times, but they are not addressed. And also I pray through you, Right Honorable Speaker, that the office of the Prime Minister also comes to the aid of the affected families. I pray and I submit.
thank you. Government,
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, and I thank the member for raising this issue. We shall get in touch and aid those families, but also I want to pass on condolence messages to those who have lost their dear ones. And also thank you for the vigilance as leaders in the area, but let's continue also working together for our people who are trying to earn a living in their small way. We must all be vigilant and work together with the local leaders from the local level, but your prayers are going to be answered. Thank you.
and I think the Minister of Energy needs to come in really and act on this, because we need to regulate the issue of artisan mines in terms of the technology that is being used, the tools, health, and the safety. The minister must really come in this aspect and see how to handle. Yes, Straha.
Procedure. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues at large, I raise on a procedural impropriety and ambiguity that washed Parliament and the country a month ago. I do acknowledge that it was a procedural flaw. At this juncture, Right Honorable Speaker and members, I do invoke.
Is making a maiden speech. Straha, go ahead.
Right Honorable members, I do acknowledge and make a reflection of how important it is to work in harmony as honorable colleagues and our leaders, the legislator, our speaker, for the better dispensation of services to our country. I therefore request for pardon on the impasse. I beg to move.
What pardon are you asking for?
I request for the procedural impropriety that I caused on the actions of Parliament.
Yes, Morris.
Thank you.
Morris has a procedural matter. You know,
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, our rules are clear. That when a colleague is communicating, the colleague must communicate in a language that the rest understand, so that we are in a position to understand what is communicating, and the answer has what to put on record. Right Honorable Speaker, we have heard the colleague using a lot of English, jargons and different statements, but possibly he had something he wanted to pass over because he was saying he was apologizing. So Right Honorable Speaker, couldn't it be procedurally right Honorable Speaker, so that one, the colleague uses the clear English to understand, and two, he tells us exactly what he's trying to mean and convey, so that if he wants forgiveness, people can know what they are forgiving and what they are talking.
Honorable Traha, even me,
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Traha, even me who is here have not understood what you're saying. If you have,
Right,
if you-
Honorable Speaker.
if you have something that you want to communicate, if you're going to seek for equity, you must go with the clean hands. If you have something that you want to communicate, you communicate openly. If you want to be forgiven, this house will forgive you. What do you want to be forgiven for?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, a month ago, I was seen moving with funds in the precincts of Parliament. And the rights of my fellow colleagues and the House at large. I do therefore request for pardon over that and extend an olive hand to each other for the betterment of services in the country.
Clarification, Chair. Clarification, Chair. Clarification, Chair. Clarification, Chair.
Honorable members,
Clarification, Chair.
honorable members,
Clarification, Chair.
Panado, is that how people behave from Uganda?
No, Chair.
Sit.
Thank you,
Sit.
Chair.
Sit. Panado, what is your issue?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Speaker, my procedural issue is one. Honorable Kagabo is our colleague. If the alligator is telling you that you see the crocodile is dead in the water, who are you to deny it that he is not dead? For him, he has said he's sorry for his actions, but he has failed to understand which actions, Honorable Kagabo. You carried this action, you did not explain to us, because personally from Uganda, I failed to understand you. Try to explain and we see whether through the crocodile is dead or not.
Honorable member, it is unfortunate you are not listening to Honorable Kagabo. Honorable Kagabo has asked for forgiveness for his actions. Next item.
Statement by Minister on implementation of the 21st EAC Summit Directive in Uganda to adopt Kiswahili as an official language of the community.
Honorable members, you are aware under Article 6 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, which stipulates that Swahili shall be the second official language in Uganda to be used. And as it is prescribed in the East African Community Integration, that is one of the things that is going to be presented now. So the minister, please present your paper.
Mwenyekiti na wabunge wa Uganda, habari za mchana. Bon après-midi. Good afternoon. Our Speaker, I'm proceeding under Article 137 of the Treaty for the East African Community, which states that Kiswahili shall be developed as the lingua franca of the community. Under Article 8.2 of the Protocol of the Kiswahili Commission, the East African Community encourages the use of Kiswahili in the conduct of official business and public life within the region. I would like to inform you that in order to promote Kiswahili for regional integration and sustainable development, the Council of Ministers urge the heads of state to consider amending Article 137.2 of the treaty to make Kiswahili the second official language of the community. On 26 August 2016, the East African Legislative Assembly passed a resolution urging the summit to consider amendment of Article 137.2 of the treaty to consider community. Therefore, the 21st summit of the heads of state held on February 27, 2021, Kiswahili was adopted as an official language of the community. This therefore warranted in implementation of the directive in Uganda to adopt Kiswahili as an official language, but has not effectively been implemented. As you're aware, the Article 8 of the treaty mandates the ministry responsible for East Africa coordinate and act as a focal point on all East African community matters. Given that mandate, in that regard, adopting Swahili as an official language, my ministry needs to regular strategic engagements to ensure the full implementation. We have identified the following stakeholders: the Cabinet, the Parliament of Uganda, the Ministry of Education and Sports, Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, academic institutions, and the media, among others. In order to implement the directive, we have the following objectives. One, to empower the business community of Uganda in using Kiswahili by partnering with the private sector organizations, to inculcate Kiswahili in government procedures through Kiswahili focal points in all arms of government. Three, to coordinate promotion of use of Kiswahili by non-state actors such as faith-based organizations, cultural institutions, among the general citizens. The Council of Ministers directed the Kiswahili Commission and training in the partner states. The programs and manuals are therefore part of the Kiswahili development tools to help the partner states develop the language and popularize its usage in the EAC integration activities. Due to resource constraints, the East African Kiswahili Commission prioritized the Parliament of Uganda, the media, and the education sector as key entry points. I'm happy to inform the honor members that at least at a number of the borders, there's now a minimum amount of teaching of Swahili in the schools. The Parliament was selected for the following reasons. It has a critical role as an entry point in ensuring that Swahili becomes an official language. Two, it has a potential of contributing to both national and regional integration, as well as sustainable development. We need Parliament to support the Swahili, National Swahili Council to be established in this country. We shall need necessary policy, human, and financial support for this. We shall need the legislative, budgetary, and oversight roles of Parliament to support the promotion and development of Swahili, not only as an official language, but also as a lingua franca, as already mentioned. The use of Swahili in Parliament would inspire other institutions of government, as well as state and non-state actors in promoting the use of Kiswahili in both official and non-official domains. My ministry coordinated development of Swahili training program through a participatory multi-sector engagement. The key stakeholders have already been mentioned. The 16th Sectoral Council of Ministers responsible for education adopted the training program and the manuals. So we are going to focus first on the members of parliament, the Parliamentary Forum on Kiswahili, I hope it is there, the staff of parliament, and the Uganda Parliamentary Press Association. The Ministry of Education and Sports coordinates the secondary schools essay writing competition. The concept was conceived as a wider ESC approach to create awareness among the school-going population about the integration process and activities. It gives secondary school students an opportunity to analyze from their own perspective the benefits, opportunities, and constraints of regional integration of East Africa. The students are expected to write their essays either in English, Kiswahili, or in French, on a topic presented to them annually and focused on contemporary issues in the ESC. The regional awards for the ceremony, which took place just before the COVID-19 pandemic, we had one girl student from Uganda Girls Secondary School, Nafura Fortunate Mugeni, who was the second best in the entire community. She wrote an essay in Kiswahili. She was during the 22nd Ordinary Summit in Arusha. On that success story, and guided by Article 120 of the treaty, we are coordinating a program to establish ESC clubs in secondary schools. The clubs promote usage of Kiswahili among students and participation in the essay competition. We're in the process of finalizing mapping and establishing a network of Kiswahili trainers in Uganda who will assist the ministry to train basic Kiswahili as to business persons to ease their business transactions in Kiswahili. At this stage, I will also add that we recently had an offer from the government of Zanzibar. They are willing to send as many Swahili teachers as we need to this country. The ministry mobilized resources from Trademark East Africa for a new initiative translating into Swahili movement of goods and services in the ESC. We engaged the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development to establish the National Kiswahili Council, which will champion Kiswahili development initiatives at the national level. They prepared a cabinet paper on this matter, and we shall update you once it has been concluded. The Ministry of Gender is expected to focus on Kiswahili research, journal, manual publications. It's expected to complement our efforts to translate key East African community documents, such as simplified trade regime and other outreach activities to promote Kiswahili. There is need to enhance ability to communicate in Kiswahili for the business persons engaged in cross-border trade. Last Friday, I was at Mutukula meeting the cross-border traders, and they told me that one of their biggest problems was the inability to communicate while at the border with their colleagues. But this would really enhance intra-regional trade. Promoting Swahili to create opportunities for translators and interpreters of Kiswahili to reduce unemployment. It can be used collectively to promote the ESC as a single tourist destination. You can imagine if a Ugandan were able to speak to anybody in Swahili having arrived in this country. There's need to create a shared sense of identity within the highly diverse linguistic society. We have 56 tribes in Uganda, 42 in Kenya, and more than 120 in the United Republic of Tanzania. Of course, now, if you add Congo, Rwanda, and Burundi, there are very, very many people, and we need a common language. Therefore, Uganda smoothly integrating the ESC, it makes it both necessary and urgent for the country to consider the language playing a central role in the region for our development. We would like to request the following. Government should supply sensitization materials such as flyers and media broadcasts in Kiswahili. I can now inform the House that the Uganda Airlines have been directed to start communicating at least a greeting both in English and Kiswahili. As a start, we want government to support professional translators and interpreters for Kiswahili. provide signed language in Kiswahili for all government entities, support adult literacy teaching programs in Kiswahili, establish Kiswahili focal persons in each district for organizing and overseeing the learning of Kiswahili, carry the use of Kiswahili in offices. The 21st Summit Directive was presented to Cabinet on 4th July 2022 with the following objectives: to update Cabinet on the implementation of the directive, to request Cabinet to approve resources to Parliament of Uganda as a pilot implementation area for the training of Swahili, to request Cabinet to approve funding for the ministry to coordinate and promote Swahili as an official language in the EAC. And therefore, Cabinet noted what has requested and resolved that each member of Cabinet and the PSs must be given 1 year within which they should learn the Swahili language. Two, they directed my ministry to submit a comprehensive plan and budgets for various activities to implement the directive. We, on the funding, we agreed to defer that for the time being until we have completed certain other small work. So the ministry is in the process of engaging a team of Kiswahili trainers to train Cabinet and PSs. We have got the process of engaging relevant stakeholders with the view to prepare a comprehensive plan and budget for the various activities to implement this directive. Thank you very much, honorable members.
Thank you so much, honorable members. The document, the information is self-explanatory. So I will not open for debate. If you need information, go to the library. You will get the document there and you read it. Next item.
Bill second reading. The National Local Content Bill 2022.
There is a procedural matter here.
Procedural, right, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Dokolo.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Last week, Thursday, the Minister of Public Service had undertaken to come to the House and give us an update as to what has been done about the claims of the late Robert Ekino, who left us about 34 years ago in a very nasty incident, having been killed by the rebels in the bush. And right up to now, the family of Robert Ekino has not got the adequate gratuity as expected. In fact, right, Honorable Speaker, we felt the family was insulted by being informed formally by a letter written by the Attorney General that the only money due to the family of Robert Ekino was 32,000 shillings. And 32,000 shillings, by my own crude calculation, cannot transport one person from Soroti, or from, in this case, from Kaberamaido to Kampala, even to claim that money. So, right, Honorable Speaker, all the details concerning the claims were given to the minister and also laid on table. And the minister undertook to give us information last Thursday, but unfortunately, because of other engagement, we were not able to sit. So I'm seeking your indulgence to find out whether the minister is ready so that we can receive the information. If not, maybe you can guide us accordingly. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, were you supposed to bring a report? Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Unfortunately, I have not had that information, but I promise that I will bring that information tomorrow because I was not around last week. Thank you very much. Bring the information tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
There was another procedural matter.
Madam Speaker, Mine is not a procedural matter. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, this Saturday, I had the chance to join my community, and that is the Catholic community in Kasese. And the bishop, or my bishop, who is also your bishop, the Right Reverend Bishop Kibera Francis Kambale, had this message given to me to deliver to you. First of all, to say congratulations, Madam Speaker. He prays for you on a daily basis. And also number two, to welcome you back from the Holy See of the Pope. And also gave me instructions, Madam Speaker, to bring it to your attention that Saturday in the Catholic community globally was a very important day in a sense that it marked 100 years of the Legion of Mary. And Madam Speaker, your bishop is that you will consider or explore the possibility of celebrating 100 years of the Legion of Mary at this parliament. If it pleases you, Madam Speaker, there is a request from your bishop, who is also my bishop, the Right Reverend Bishop Francis Kibera Kambale. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you so much.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, Sarah is a woman member of Tororo, not Kasese. Honorable Sarah.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, most of you could have watched this on TV or heard on radio about the Nyege Nyege Festival that is coming up for 3 days in Jinja. And Right Honorable Speaker, we are aware that the previous Nyege Nyege events, there were attempts to stop it. May the soul of Father Lokodo rest in peace. And because the Ministry of Ethics then and the Minister of Internal Affairs had conflicting positions, the previous festival was left to go on. And all of you saw what came out of that festival, Nyege Nyege Festival. People having sex in the open, people drinking, and people have been told that this event will go on for 3 days, both day and night, and people have to drink themselves silly. Right Honorable Speaker, while it is okay, and people may look at this as normal, leave people to enjoy, but we have another bigger challenge, Right Honorable Speaker, that we are having our young children being recruited into the LGBT community. Most of you have seen on the 3rd of August this month, when the NGO Bureau suspended the activities of an NGO that has not been registered, but has been operating, the Sexual Minorities Uganda. And Right Honorable Speaker, if you listen to the stories of those who have been recruited by this institution, children are being paid 500,000 shillings. Yes, when you attend their meeting, some of the people are being told to have live sex and they were paid millions for porn recordings. So, Right Honorable Speaker, what is government's position on this growing immorality in this country? And it's going to attract all kinds of people from all over the world, bringing all kinds of things, of actions that are really non-African, non-Ugandan into our communities. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I am glad the Prime Minister is here. Can we hear from the Prime Minister? What is this nyege nyege that you're allowing to take place? And the advert is international. And I have seen, Right Honorable Speaker, if you go to the sites, You will see men, both young men holding hands, young women together. What are they promoting? That it is okay for you to have a partner, to come with a fellow male partner for nyege nyege. This is the message. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I am glad that the Prime Minister is here. Can we hear from the Prime Minister why and how you are going to control these gays from operating in this community? There is further information before I can.
Honorable Prime Minister, can you tell us
Thank you, Right Honorable.
what is your plan? How
Thank
are you
you.
going to stop it?
Thank you, Right
And
Honorable
is that
Speaker.
something that you desire as a
Thank you, Right
country?
Honorable Speaker. I know it is not good. Of course, our country right now, I have the Honorable Minister of Ethics, who has the whole information, and she wants to give it to this Parliament so that she gives you the information about that Nyagi Nyagi dance. Please, Honorable Minister,
Honorable
come and give
Minister.
information to Parliament. Thank you so much. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank my sister Sarah for giving this question to the House. Right Honorable Speaker, the Nyege Nyege Festival is an event which is organized by the Talent Africa and sponsored by Uganda Breweries. Right Honorable Speaker, as government and as Directorate for Ethics and Integrity, we had already taken up a stand. The Directorate of Ethics and Integrity with the police had already summoned the organizers. And we had a meeting with them last week. And today, Right Honorable Speaker, I was supposed to meet with the IGP, the Director of Operations, and the organizers in the headquarters of police. And we had given them conditions. The conditions which we had given them, and we had told them, if you follow those conditions, then we can have that event. But if you don't follow those conditions, we were not ready to accept that event to take off.
What are the conditions?
I am giving the conditions, Right Honorable. Let me just give you some of the conditions which we had given them. One of the conditions which we had told them, one, children below 18 years were not supposed to attend that event. The second one, nobody should go to that event naked. Nobody should go to that event with any kind of exposure of any dressing. Nobody should be in that event doing all the immoral activities. All those we had put. Right Honorable Speaker, I need your protection. Now, what we are going to do this afternoon, we were going to get those conditions from them. And if they don't abide, we as government, we are ready to stop, and we are ready not to allow that event to take place. Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members. Honorable Minister, can I find out one thing? What is the benefit that we are getting out of Nyege Nyege? What is the benefit that we are getting out of Nyege Nyege? And if we don't hold it, what do we lose?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, as my sister said in her submission, she talked and said in 2019, this event was put, and the late predecessor of mine took all the efforts to stop it. But when he took that effort, there was some contradiction which came between the police and the Directorate of Ethics. As government,
That's why we came together with the police to sit and say, we are not going to allow this event to take place if they are not following what conditions. And Right Honorable Speaker, I beg for your protection. Before I came here, because I got this information, just some few minutes to their house. If you could give me time, I even come with a full statement if it means tomorrow. I can come with a full statement on that because I was just given some few minutes to their house.
Honorable members, I want to hear from tourism. Tourism, give us information on that because you want to sell our country in the name of tourism.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I think had commented about it, that indeed there are conditions that should be met for this event to take place. But the bigger picture is, Nyege Nyege is an event, as we speak now, has around 8,000 foreigners that have already paid tickets and have booked to come and sleep in this country. Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, and we're holding, this event is going to be held somewhere in Jinja. But I would like to agree with my colleague, the Minister of Ethics, that we sit together tomorrow. She comes and gives this house
There is an
a
order.
comprehensive document.
There is an order.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I expect a minister to be mindful of the morals of this country.
Yes.
Not talking about the foreigners who have bought tickets. Right Honorable Speaker, I come from Busoga. I come from Jinja. I've witnessed this Nyege Nyege. It's totally immoral. It destroys our children. It destroys everybody. Right Honorable Speaker, if the tourism minister wants Nyege Nyege, let him take it to his district. Let them take it to Mbarara, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we can't sacrifice. We can't sacrifice.
Honorable
We can't
members,
sacrifice morals of people because of tickets that have been sold.
honorable members,
Is the minister in order to talk about the tickets that have been sold at the expense of our people, Right Honorable?
honorable members. Honorable members. When you get tired of talking, then you tell me you're tired. We are talking about the morals of this country. We are talking about our children. You're there and you're trying to promote tourism at the expense of our children. We are not going to allow that function to take place. You sell tickets at the expense of people's children. You're promoting gays in Uganda. No function should take place. Next item.
How I speak on what I do.
Bills,
You can't.
bill second reading,
So what?
the National Local Content Bill 2022.
Honorable members, this afternoon, you see when the visitors are looking at how we behave. This afternoon in the public gallery, we have visitors from Uganda Urban Council Speakers Association, where I am a patron. They've come here to witness the proceedings. You're most welcome. And they've been brought here by Honorable Rukari of Mbarara. Welcome, thank you for bringing our visitors. Honorable members, the National Local Content Bill is a private members bill, which was introduced by Honorable Oshabe Nsamba Patrick. It was initially read the first time on 30th January 2020 as the Local Content Bill 2019. And it was passed on 20th May 2020 and transmitted to the President for assent. However, the President then returned the bill on 20th August 2020 on the following grounds. The one was imposition of the local content obligation on the negotiated funds in the form of grants, donations, and loans, which may potentially conflict with the terms and the conditions of such funding. 2, designation of departments as a proper way of procurement, plans, and contracts contrary to the traditional convention that this constitution, which infringes the constitutional mandate of the Solicitor General. The returned bill later lapsed in the 10th Parliament as per Rule 234 of the Rules of Procedure. The Local Content Bill was reintroduced for the third reading, was reintroduced on the 3rd May 2022 in the 11th Parliament, and was referred to the Committee of Finance, Planning, and Economic Development. As it was reintroduced, the sponsor is still Honorable Oshabe Nsamba Patrick, and addressed the issues that were raised by the President then in the 10th Parliament. Now, today we have the report from the Committee of Finance and Economic Development, and the mover of the motion is also here, ready to move the motion. It's going to be addressed. I will request the sponsor of the motion to come and move the motion officially.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, in accordance with Rule 130 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, I beg to move that the bill entitled the National Local Content Bill 2022 be read the second time.
Thank you. Is the bill, is it seconded? Is the motion seconded? Seconded by Silwanyi, by Ibanda, Goretti, Whip, Dokolo, even Twaha. By Abe, Amos, presidential, by the whole house, including the chair. Would you love to speak on the principles of your motion, of your bill?
Thank you very
Briefly.
much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, to be brief, we subjected our country to competition, which is very okay, because everyone deserves, every country deserves to have competitive procedures. Whenever we are doing procurement, whenever we are spending our money. Unfortunately, Right Honorable Speaker, we opened up the door. We even removed the door frames out of the house. We subjected our companies, our Ugandans, to international competition. So continuously, our companies are dying. Continuously, our Ugandan people are being ejected by competition because the rules we have, they speak competition. Right Honorable Speaker, this law that I proposed to the House is an affirmative action law, looking at these Ugandans
to say, how do we create a chance? How do we create a room for them to participate within what is going on in the country? Right Honorable Speaker, this bill is intended to impose local content obligations on any person using public money. To begin with, many of you would desire that we impose these obligations everywhere, but other countries are focusing on where the taxpayers' money is being used. And Right Honorable Speaker, we desire that in this law, we desire to prioritize Ugandan citizens, Ugandan and resident companies in public procurement. We want to ensure that skills and technology transfer takes place. We desire that we come up with local content plans at every level of procurement. We desire to provide for supervision, coordination, monitoring, and implementation of local content at all stages, from top to down, where we will be sure that at least there is a percentage of participation of the people of Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, the Committee of Finance finalized when you sent this bill to the committee. They finalized and they have a report. I beg to request the chair to come and report over the same. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, sponsor. Can we have now the chair, just briefly, this is a bill that has been there. We know it. It is uploaded. Give us a brief.
That's what I intend to do, Madam Speaker. You've already mentioned the reasons why it was returned. Objection to imposition of local content, obligations on negotiated funding, grants and loans and donations. There were clauses in the bill which seemed to be in conflict with the East African Community Protocol, and also the Free Movement of Goods and Services, and the PPDA Act. There was also an issue around designation of a department as an approver of local content plans and contracts. And here we are thinking about the whole country, the whole procurement that goes on around the country, all of that being approved by a single department. And as you, Madam Speaker, as you mentioned, the bill was processed but lapsed in the 10th Parliament because it was not saved. The object of the bill is imposing a local content obligation on any person, entity using public money or utilizing Uganda's natural resources or carrying on an activity requiring a license to prioritize Ugandan citizens, Ugandan and residential companies in public procurement to ensure skills and technology transfer.
Yes, Matt Cecilia.
Right, Honorable Speaker, this bill was processed and passed unanimously by the last Parliament, and the current Parliament are conversant with the issues in the bill. Right, Honorable Speaker, Procedural would have expected the chair to focus on the two areas where the President was not in agreement with Parliament, so that we can understand why he disagreed with us and how we can reconcile the position. If you could focus on those two critical areas, right, Honorable, within this short time. Thank you.
In the circumstance, then why don't you go and discuss those two parts at committee level?
Right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker, I beg, it is not only two issues. The President highlighted those as the main issues, but he went ahead to give several comments about the bill. And Right Honorable Speaker, the chair and the committee took time to study this. I beg that we move at least on the proposals that they came up with.
That is at committee.
Yeah.
Yes. So what are you moving? Are you saying should we go to committee level?
Right Honorable Speaker, that will be more helpful.
Then you move.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that we move to the committee stage to deal properly with the issues raised by the committee. Thank you.
Chair.
Madam Speaker, whereas I agree with the motion, the only thing I want to point out is that it's entirely new bill. So it has new clauses. The comments that the president made were cross-cutting and have influenced the amendments that we are making. So I think, and actually we are not going to...
We'll look at it at committee stage, clause by clause. Then that's better, Chair.
I concede, Madam Speaker.
I now put a question that the National Local Content Bill 2022 be read for the second time. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The National Local Content Bill 2022, Bills Committee stage. Clause 1.
Clause 1, clause 1 application. Clause 1 is amended. 1, by renumbering the provision as 2, Command 2, by inserting a new subclause 2 as follows. 2, this act shall not apply to the oil and gas sector. Justification, the existing legal framework for the oil and gas sector in Uganda is sufficient to ensure the promotion of local content while maintaining stability of the legal regime. 2, the government of Uganda has entered into long-term legal contracts based on the existing national content legal regime in the oil and gas sector. These contracts contain stabilization clauses, which, if vitiated by change of law, as envisaged in this bill, will constitute a breach of contract. Just as an example, when we are processing the Public Finance Management Act, we had to juggle through, we had to be very mindful about many existing legislation, because it's a maze of them. So we considered it necessary that actually that is excluded. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Chair.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Chair, we have no objection to this proposal.
One thing I want you to be,
Chair.
one thing I want the House to know that we have already passed some laws in regard to ECOP, in regard to mines and minerals. So if you're going to pass a law that is going to contradict with existing laws, then you're not legislating. So what the chair is saying, we already have existing laws in regard to oil and gas. We passed by this house, ECOP. It was passed by this house. And Honorable Kanya, you're a member of finance, don't you? So why are you standing up?
Chair, on the issue of oil and gas sector, we must realize that that oil and gas sector is very broad. And the chair of this committee recalls that when we were in the UK, we agreed that whatever the export fund for the construction of the airways and so on will have even a higher local content. So for us now to say we cannot apply the issue of local content in anything that that affects oil sector may sometimes also restrict us. So I think, Right Honorable Speaker, this is a general thing. It does not, as long as it does not contradict, I don't see why we cannot, because it requires procurement and what have you. The oil sector is too broad. We cannot just surrender it like that.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Chairperson, I think if I go to the chair of the committee very well, he said that the local content provisions in regard to oil and gas are already provided for in the existing oil and gas framework, which I think is sufficient, and that's why we are agreeing with the chair of the.
I wanted to know how the proposal, as it is in this law, conflicts with the local content policy in the oil law. It would seem to me there are things we are covering, and that is going to disadvantage Ugandans. Why should we exclude the oil sector if those two local content policies and the laws are not in conflict?
But I think you also need to consider the specialized activities that take place in oil and gas. Like if you want a welder in the oil and gas, it's not the same as the one you need in your home. So you need to look at some of these things in oil and gas.
Commission.
Yes, Katesh.
Right Honorable Speaker, I just want to array the fears of our colleague. The oil and gas law that we passed, when we were examining that law, it was, the background was related to the various regional agreements we signed, like the host government agreement as a country. Therefore, matters of national content were defined in that law extensively, and given the wide nature of the oil and gas sector, I think we should be comfortable as a house to know that the bill we passed actually sufficiently addresses our concerns. And therefore, we should proceed to consider this law without referring or without having fears that other issues could have been overlooked in that law.
Honorable members, I put a question that clause 1 be amended as proposed. Those in favor stand to the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 1 as amended.
I put a question that clause 1 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand to the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Chair.
Madam Chair, the committee is recommending that clause 2 interpretation be amended. Clause 2 is amended by inserting the following immediately after the definition of the word currency point. Department means the department responsible for procurement policy and management under the ministry responsible for finance, designated under Section 3 to be responsible for local content and the implementation of this act. It's intended to provide a definition of the word department that is used in the bill. I should have mentioned that there was, I didn't give the preamble to this, but there was the mover intends that there be a department responsible for local content. And then when we Minister of Finance said they have already a department in the ministry for procurement and management. And then there was the PPDA who was saying that actually they should house it.
No, you're going to speak.
Just a procedure matter, right?
Are you done, Chair?
I was
Chair.
just trying to explain the
let him
background.
Chair, I'm just proposing that we deal with 3 because that's where the
Let
matter.
him finish, then you will bring your
Then we
suggestion.
come back to 2
Yes.
because
Let him finish, then you will bring your suggestion.
So PPDA were saying that actually it's their responsibility enshrined in the PPDA Act, and that this is actually taking away what they should be doing. Ministry of Trade and Industry were saying that actually this is coming in just to help legalize what they are doing as BUBU, Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. Now, other agencies, that other stakeholders that we interviewed were actually of the view that we should actually create an independent commission. But considering that government is rationalizing agencies at the moment, we thought this provides a natural home for it. I think my brother has some
Okay.
contention about it.
I think he wants to stand over this.
Right Honorable, the following clause 3. This is where the department was proposed. And when Chair was explaining, I thought probably we should deal with that. Then the interpretation will fall in automatically. That is the reason why I came up to raise a procedure. Once we agree on 3, then automatically the department will be defined better.
So we are standing over 2. We handle 3, then we will get back to 2. Okay? So we've stood over clause 2.
Clause 3.
Chair.
Clause 3, department responsible for local content. Clause 3 is amended, Roman 1, by substituting the head note with the following. 3, designation of the Department of Procurement, Policy and Management. 2, Roman 2, by substituting for subclause 1 the following. 1 in the bracket, the department responsible for procurement policy and management under the ministry responsible for finance is designated the department responsible for local content and implementation of this act. 3, Roman 3, by deleting paragraph D in subclause 2. Roman 4, by deleting the words and audit in subclause 2, 1, and 4, by deleting subsection 3, subclause 3B and C. And the justification for this, as I was explaining earlier, the already existing Department of Procurement Policy and Management is mandated to implement matters of local content, and as such can implement the National Local Content Act. To comply with government policy towards rationalization and merger of government and ministries, departments, and agencies. 3, the approval of local content plan should be deleted for the reason that once the department has developed the National Local Content Plan, the aspect of approving the local content plan should not arise, but rather be left for auditing by the department. 4, the proposed functions of reviewing and approving contracts are a preserve of the Attorney General, and as such should be deleted to avoid the conflict of roles. And 5, the auditing function should be reserved for the Auditor General under Article 163 of the Constitution of Uganda and the National Audit Act 2008. So this is addressing the concerns that were raised by the president and trying to harmonize things.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, on clause 3, I am in agreement with part 5 and 6. On clause 3, the proposal to delete subsection 3B and C, and the proposal to delete subclause 321 and the word and audit. That one I'm in agreement. But Chair, like I explained initially, local content is a destruction of procurement procedures. The people, their rule is value for money. When you bring in your affirmative action, this is a destruction to how they operate. They will not entertain. You can only enforce them to listen. You can only force them to listen. By nature of procurement, this is a distraction. And I beg, honorable members, as you consider this, the stakeholders we engaged initially desired an autonomous body. But we created this law at a time when the government was rationalizing. So we thought it does not make sense for us to come up within the law and propose an authority. We propose a commission at such a time. That's why we said to them that the least we can have, at least let us have within the ministry, a department to oversee matters of local content. And the matters of local content, Right Honorable Speaker, whereas it deals with public resources, it is not specific on procurement alone. So we proposed a separate department under the Minister of Finance that can keep pushing. And that's why I beg this House to create a separate department, not adding this law under an existing department of procurement. I beg to move.
Can I hear from the minister?
Madam Chair, we looked at both proposals. What Honorable Samba proposed and also the ideas which arose from the committee hearing. I want to state that yes, procurement is competition, but the existing laws provide for preference clauses and reservations. Therefore, to allay your fears, even when there is competition, there is where we reserve some contracts for specific people, women, youth, elderly, etc. Madam Chair, we are currently undertaking rationalization, and we are trying to be as much leaner as possible. In this regard, there is no harm by us managing local content under our existing Department of Procurement we shall only create a unit in there to specifically deal with the local content matters. I beg to submit.
That is administratively. Done.
Thank you, Right Honorable Chair. I have reservation on section clause 3. The PPD Act is even the local content. For us to create another office is to increase the red tape. And if we are talking about being linear and merging institutions, really, what a contradiction at this point that we are even proposing a creation of another office. Yet the law, the PPD Act, answers all the questions that we are talking about. Finally, Madam Chair, the institutions we are talking about that deal in procurement, we are overstretching them with audits. They already have audits by the PPDA. Now you want to create another office to do audits and exactly repeating the same thing. Why can't we empower the PPDA if we want to refine things? Institutional. Thank you, Regis.
Honorable Oshabe, is there a problem with handling this administratively?
Right Honorable Chair, Madam Chairperson, I think the minister brought in the PPDA Act. The PPDA Act proposed the reservation is in 203. But since 203, they failed to implement it.
No, have you done the amendment? Is it in the law? I am asking, is it in the law?
This, Right Honorable Chair, this is what I'm talking about.
There is a difference between having it in the law and implementation.
The first proposal about reservation came in the PPD Act of 203. And we took consideration of that before. And if it was working, by the way, I need to tell this to members. Some countries like Ethiopia, they don't need a law. They don't have a law on local content, but they implement local content. They do. In Kenya, they do not have a specific law, but they do implement it. Our problem in this country is the reason why we came up with this law is because things were failing. I want to tell the minister and honorable members, this law is not specifically on procurement alone. It deals with other aspects of local content, like licenses that need somebody specific. Somebody in procurement is concerned about bidding and all that. So once you create these other responsibilities beyond what they can do, they will not handle. We deal with how the expatriates will be employed in this country. And those cannot be handled. That's why we desired a department separate to deal with specifically matters of local content, and local content needs to be developed. Information, Honorable Cecilia.
Thank you.
Patrick,
Information.
Can the local content be a cross-cutting principle like the gender equity? Let me first hear from the chairman.
Madam Speaker, I think that's a fundamental issue that we had to deal with when we are conducting our hearings. What is local content and what is procurement? Procurement is more around the acquirement of goods and services, and then the deals with advertising and things like that. But here, with local content, we are thinking about a range of measures that favor the domestic industry at the expense of foreign competitors. Two, we are thinking about a wide range of policies imposed by government that requires firms to use, just as an example, domestically manufactured goods or domestically supplied services. That may not be in the procurement, but it may be a requirement. Supply services in order to operate in an economy. And we find to include all locally produced goods, services, and utilization of personnel, including other areas like financing goods and services by a local content entity in any operation or activity carried out in Uganda. So it's different. It's much broader than the procurement that we are talking about.
Chair, my understanding of this, and I think it has been raised in that section which we are discussing now, the issue of evaluation. We have to evaluate the entire system in order to lay hands on the areas where we want the local content to have priority. Right, Chair, my problem, which we had even when we were discussing this issue earlier, is that we are focusing on goods and services. We are forgetting the issue of recruitment. And we came to discover that some of the foreign companies, they will say there are so many Ugandans there or East Africans there, but when you now quantify in terms of percentage, you'll find that the Ugandans are only 10% or 20%, when actually they should be 40% in terms of the resources that go into the local content, the local recruited personnel. So we are looking at a broader issue, just like equal opportunities, so that when we are budgeting, we must ensure that the agency that we want to scrutinize has been able to evaluate not only goods and services, but also recruitment personnel, not just clerks and the low-class employees. We want the people in the top hierarchy of management. How have we shared this? So, Chair, I want to emphasize this. Let us not only focus on the goods and services. Let's also focus on the employment and the recruitment of personnel. Thank you.
Honorable members, I think what we need to do is to look at local content as a cross-cutting theme. Cross-cutting theme. And we don't need to domicile it in one department. Let it be a theme, like gender equity, where you're supposed to report to Parliament always. This is what you have done as an institution, and this is your contribution. And that is the basis that should form, say, a waiver, tax waiver. We should look at that. Tax holidays, we should look at that. So let's look at it as a cross-cutting theme. And we should also have a certificate like gender equity. Yes.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for your...
We need to be seen to move.
Yes. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for your leadership. And I think your position is what basically we needed the most in this process. In bill processing, and I'm trying to bring in my close experience, that we need to focus upon three fundamental parameters. Madam Speaker, parameter number one is content specification. Number two is boundary demarcation. Number three, in bill processing, you have also to look at avoiding scenarios of pseudo scenarios. And Madam Speaker, one of the things that I've closely observed as we go along with processing our bills in this House is that our colleagues, especially those that bring the bills on the floor, don't really take attention as far as identifying variables in terms of dependent, independent, and interdependent. And in this case, Madam Speaker, I want to draw your attention to section 2, where the chair was making reference of complying with government policy of merger. So far as we know, all of us here, is that this thing was thrown back to cabinet. We don't have the position of cabinet back to this house to invoke a resolution of the house. So how can something that is still awaiting cabinet approval become part of a bill? So, Madam Speaker, I was suggesting that section 2, complying with government position, the merger position should be dropped, because that surely does not stand a test of time, because in the event that cabinet approves otherwise, again, we shall have to come back here to amend the bill, and that will be wasting your time.
If I heard it correctly, I heard a minister saying we cannot have different authorities, different departments, because we are in the rationalization process. That is what I heard. So we are not going to go into departments or authorities.
Yes, Madam Speaker, specifically mine was about complying with government policy about the merger. And I was saying, Madam Speaker, you gave it.
Leave merger away. Let's finish this bill.
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm saying section 2 should not be part of this bill, because it is there, complying with government position of merger.
Can we finish with the clause 3? Katesh.
Right, Honorable Speaker, is it procedurally okay for a colleague to take back the house to a matter where you have?
It is not correct.
Moved?
I'm saying, can we move
Yes.
ahead?
So I beg that we move forward with the clauses.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I like the position that you came with in your proposal, where you indicated that local content must be cross-cutting, where every institution of government reports about local content. The challenge, and that's what we desired initially, the challenge it comes with, you'll need an institution that, for example, the gender and equity certificate, there is an institution that reports on Parliament on compliance. Now, that will force you to create an institution. I want to talk about the rationalization, Honorable Minister.
Honorable Shabe, suppose, through Madam Chair, suppose it is provided under the role of and responsibility of the sector minister twice a year, and as the chair proposed, that is cross-cutting like the gender equity law. Every government department, while submitting the report here for budgeting,
in the ministerial statements,
submits a clause, the level of compliance.
Yes.
It's very simple. It is Parliament to be strong to do the oversight role.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I raise my case.
I think that's a very good suggestion.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that proposal. I think I may take that, although with reservations.
Let's move on.
Propose,
Patrick.
Chair, that we stand over that clause.
No, we are not standing over that one again. Let's move on. We put as a condition that the minister shall, when making a policy statement, report in regards to local content.
Now, which minister, right, Chair?
The minister is of finance. You've already put it in finance.
Chair, when the Minister of Finance comes here to report, the minister reports specifically on the ministry.
It is, first of all, it is cross-cutting. All ministers must report in terms of local what? content, even Parliament will report in terms of local content. It will be part of the format of writing.
I take it, right away.
So can we make the amendment, Patrick? Oshabe, Patrick, make the amendment. Add a subclause on the 3.
Subclause 3.
Ekanya, can you help?
Madam Chair, the clause is amended by inserting the following words. Every minister will report to Parliament, shall report to Parliament on compliance with this act. Yeah, just as simple as that, because every minister must report while submitting the policy statement on the level of compliance of this act. Twice a year, it can be if you want.
You put it in a way that every ministry, every department, every agency
Right, Honorable Speaker.
shall.
Right, Honorable Speaker. How about saying government? Because the ministry is from government.
Government is ambiguous.
Oh,
Madam Chair, the word should be that every minister, every department, every ministry,
thank you, Madam
every
Chair.
department, every government agency, level of compliance with this act while submitting policy statement to Parliament.
Yes, that is okay.
Okay. I was not understanding my honorable colleague because the amendment we're making, first of all, the draft bill was talking about forming an independent department. The amendment is saying we don't have to make. We give the responsibility to the department under Ministry of Finance. But then when we talk about, I think the amendment my honorable colleague is bringing in, it's another clause under 3. It's not what we are actually legislating on. What we are talking about is, should we take the amendment of not having an independent department, but taking the department, taking the responsibility to the department under Ministry of Finance. Then after that, we can talk about the reporting at the time of policy statements.
Madam Chair, the proposal by Honorable Kanya, while is good, it leaves this law hanging. No one will be there to implement it. So instead of just leaving it to no one, I rather leave it to what the committee proposed. Because here you're leaving it when you say every minister, then there is no minister who will be checking, because even talk about gender equity, there is somebody responsible. But then here we leave it to no one. So
clarification.
Instead of leaving it hanging to everyone.
Honorable Oshabe, assuming as one said, it should be a standalone clause, sub-clause. A public entity shall ensure compliance with the local content in all activities. Then 2, a minister shall report to Parliament at least twice a year on to the provisions of this act.
Madam Chair.
I am talking to Oshabe. Can I first hear from Oshabe?
Chair, then now when that is very good, then we go to interpretation.
Yes, which
When we go
stood
to
over
interpretation, we must define
who
who
a minister is.
the minister is.
Yes,
And who is the minister is, does he remain the minister?
responsible for. Remember, we are saying it is a cross-cutting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we together with Oshabe on that?
Yes.
Madam Chair, I was,
So are we making that amendment? Let me first.
Chair, I am okay with that. My only problem comes with when
On
you go,
interpretation.
when to interpret
Who a
who the minister
Yes.
is. Then you'll have to specify that by minister, I mean this one.
Yes.
Then you'll have trouble to say that the minister you meant was this minister.
It has to be for all ministers. It is not only minister.
Chair, the committee position is the correct one. It is a continuous evaluation of the local content situation. Whereas if we are going to go by the new amendment, we'll have to wait. Actually, you put it on the shelf, wait until the report is made. And so what if the report is made and they have not complied? Whereas the committee report gives me the responsibility to continuously evaluate the local content situation. That's how I look at it. And Chair, I think we need to borrow from the equal opportunity, the way we normally comply with the equal opportunity. You know, whenever it comes to the time of budget, we look at the performance of the local, of the equal opportunity in every department. But it is a continuous process. So I think the committee position, Chair, is the one I would want, I'm comfortable with. So I'm pleading with the mover. I'm pleading with the mover.
Honorable Shabe, can we go by the committee position?
Chair, the committee's position is fair. Because at least it gives responsibility to someone other than leaving it to no one. Thank you.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 3 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 3 as amended.
I put a question that clause 3 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 4.
I put a question that clause 4 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary. Chair.
Clause 5 is rejection of Ugandan goods and services during procurement. Clause 5 is amended in subclause 1 by inserting the word price immediately after the word quality. And the justification is to include price as one of the parameters for rejection by a local content entity of a good or service.
Madam Chair, I agree with the committee position.
Patrick.
I agree with the committee position.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 5 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 5 as amended.
I put a question that clause 5 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
Enos, I thought you're a member of the committee. No, you should have put it in the committee, at committee level.
Madam Chair, if you make the amendment on 5.1, I suggest that we make the amendment also on number 2.
Clause 6.
I put a question that clause 6 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 7.
I put a question that clause 7 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 8.
Deletion.
Clause 8. The committee recommends that clause 8 be deleted. And the justification for that is that this is covered under the Uganda Citizenship and Immigration Control Act 2015.
Honorable Minister, Patrick. Enos, leave the minister.
Madam Chair, we agree with the committee.
Thank you. Patrick.
Chair, I'm finding a challenge. What the chairperson gave me is different with what is coming up here. But in clause 8, Chair, yes, if it is provided for, like Chair is claiming, that there is any law that prohibits employment of non-citizens here, then we see them. Other countries employ expatriates for a given period of time, say 3 years, and they require, in those countries, they require a nation to understudy this expatriate. Right, Honorable Chair.
Patrick, before you go into that, is it true that it's provided for in the Uganda Citizen Immigration
I'm not aware,
Control
Chair.
Act 2015?
Chair, I'm not aware of that.
Can you check for him? And if it is provided for, that would be a duplication of the law, so we should delete it. Please come and have a chance and look at it here. Patrick. Honorable members, I have checked with the laws available. The position of the committee is correct.
Chair, I beg to plead with the chair. I beg to plead with the movers of this motion to accept the position of the committee. I think it's a very well framed position, which should convince us. Honorable Patrick, can you reconsider your position, please?
Chair, like I said, we've been sharing with the chairperson about this, but this is a new thing. Me, I concede on this.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 8 be deleted as proposed. Those in favor, say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 9.
Deletion. Clause 9.
Madam Chair, the committee recommends that clause 9, which is on employment of non-citizens, be deleted.
Because it is covered in the same act.
Yes, it covered under the
Yes,
same.
Minister.
Madam Chair, I agree with the chairperson of the committee.
Yes, Patrick. We try our best to give the proposer, the mover of the motion, time to give his input. Patrick?
I'm okay with the committee's position.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 9 be deleted as proposed. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 10.
A deletion.
Madam Chair, the committee recommends that clause 10 be deleted. This is covered under the Uganda Citizenship and Immigration Control Act 2015. And also employment arrangement should be left to the agreement between the employer and the employee.
Patrick?
I'm okay with the committee position.
Minister?
I agree with the committee.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 10 be deleted as proposed. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 11.
I put a question that clause 11 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 12.
I put a question that clause 12 stands part of. Have it.
Clause 13.
Deletion.
Clause 13, the committee recommends that prohibition of subcontracting be deleted, which is clause. Contracting should be permissible for the reason that it gives an opportunity to the small and medium companies to build the capacity to undertake projects on their own. 2, to avoid conflict of laws such as Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Act 203 that permits subcontracting. Can I just add, Madam Chair, as a way of explaining this a little bit more? There is a provision in the bill which requires that a contractor should subcontract 40% of the work to a Ugandan. But unfortunately, the bill again prohibits, once you've got that work, you are prohibited from subcontracting it. And some of the entities that may get the subcontract may not have the capacity to implement it at 40%. We had examples from the oil and gas sector where contracts normally are very big and cannot easily be managed by a small entity in Uganda, a Ugandan entity, which probably is just getting started, but which may be eligible to compete and get the contract.
Chair, the reason why we put this, we desired that middlemen should not take over the intentions of this bill. Once you delete this clause, Chair, you run a risk of middlemen coming, they get the work, then they start. It is our intention in this bill that the right people under affirmative action get the work. If you do not deserve the contract, don't apply for it. The companies who deserve to do the work, let them do it. So that's why we think, Chair and honorable members, that we need this sub-clause, that once you get a contract under, just 1 minute, if you get a contract under this act, then you don't subcontract another, because you've been subcontracted. That is give me.
Madam Chair, information. Chair, information. I want to give information to the mover, Patrick, that just take a look at clause 14, subsection 2. It clears that doubt. So really, I think by the time the committee came up with that recommendation, they were aware that what you are concerned about is in subsection 2. Chair, just help me to Patrick, are you trying to suggest I've read a little bit more than you?
Yes, you have, because we are still dealing with clause 13. And for you, you're already somewhere else. But Madam Chair, that is the purpose. Once we maintain that, we will protect our people, especially middlemen. They are going to get the contract, then they start putting out in market. And that will inconvenience the main contractor, because the main contractor must deal with one person. You shouldn't have a right to get a subcontract, then you also subcontract other people. The oil and gas proposal you're talking about, you yourself, you brought an amendment that says that it shall not apply to the oil and gas. So it's not a proper example.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I think let me
Madam
offer
Chair.
some help.
Honorable members,
Some help, Madam Chair.
I don't need help.
No. Honorable Shabi,
I have understood what Honorable Shabe is saying, and I am persuaded. Minister.
Madam Chairperson, at first, I had not appreciated the intention of this clause, but with Honorable Chavez's explanation, and also with the desire, this is an affirmative provision. If we give you an affirmative benefit, you shouldn't easily transfer it to somebody else. I therefore agree with Honorable Oshave that the clause stands.
So we leave it to stand part of the bill, we are not deleting.
Madam Chair, I concede on behalf of the committee.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 13 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 14.
I put a question that clause 14 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 15.
I put a question that clause 15 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. You can't even say aye. The ayes have it.
Clause 16.
I put a question that clause 16 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 17.
17 amendment.
Clause 17, termination of subcontract. Clause 17 is amended. Roman 1. In subclause 1, by deleting the words on any of the ground prescribed in subsection 2, and Roman 2, by deleting subclause 2. Justification: the grounds listed under subclause under the subcontracting for breach of contract. Further, when we attempt to list, we leave out some grounds that may be peculiar to that particular contract. So we recommend that it's amended.
Yes, Patrick.
Chair, in clause 17, we know what goes on. A contractor might put in something in the contract to this affirmative action, gentleman or lady, that will fail and may fail. Now, we provided the main grounds under 17. Like, for example, if you fail or neglect to perform your duties, you abscond or abandon the subcontracted works, you assign or sell its shares or other ceases to be eligible to be subcontract, contravenes any provisions of this act, obtains the subcontract. Now, here, we are trying to tell this person that when you're dealing with this person, you've given a subcontract under this law, you can only suspend this person if he fails on these grounds. Now, Chair wants to leave it open, and that will be subjecting, or the committee will be, that your position will be subjecting these people you want to participate, to you're leaving them to the masses of the one who will give them the contract. So that's why I suggest and plead to you that this one stands as part of the bill. If there is anything that we need to add on, we can add on, but not deleting it. Otherwise, they will be subjected to other dramas that they may end up failing.
Madam Chair, if I got the justification by the committee properly, the chairperson said that there will be a contract entered into, and this contract will stipulate all the conditions under which performance conditions, including how termination can be addressed if there is failure. Number two, the chair said that this list, yes, it is there, but is not exhaustive. Circumstances may arise which will require this list to be expanded. In this event, Madam Chair, I agree with the committee that we provide for this under a contract, not in the law. Thank you.
So you're saying we delete it and provide for it in the contract? Yeah, let's first get a clarification.
Chair, like I said, from me.
Yeah, thank you. Right, Honorable Chair. I'm not understanding if we have passed 13, which is prohibition of subcontracting, then why does 17 still stand? Termination of subcontract, because I thought that we are already prohibiting the subcontracting. Then now which terms of termination of a subcontract now exist in the same law? That is the clarification I wanted from the minister.
And you need to read 13 in totality, don't read in pieces.
I think the right honorable speaker, I've answered that in well. Chair, I am begging the minister to understand this. This is affirmative action. You are now when you delete this, you are subjecting this person to the intentions of the other person. But here we are putting in the main reasoning why they say, hey, you are applying this person. Do not chase him anytime, anyhow you want, because that will arise if you just delete that act alone. So here we are saying, if this person has failed on terms as a nation,
Madam Chair.
One thing, members, we need to understand is laws are living documents. We can always amend. It's not something that is cast on stone. Minister?
Madam Chair, for the purposes of moving together as the House, I agree that we take Honorable Samba's proposal.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 17 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 18.
I put a question that clause 18 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 19.
I put a question that clause 19 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 20.
Clause 20, I put a question that clause 20 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 21.
21, Chair.
Madam Chair, the committee recommends that clause 21, development of local content plan. Clause 21 is amended. Specification. It is consequential amendment to the deletion of subclause 2D that provided for the approval of local content plans by the department. Subclause 1 of clause 21 is sufficient, where it requires the supplier, provider, or contractor to develop and submit a local content plan with respect to the entire project or activity.
Yes, Patrick.
Madam Chairperson, clause 21(2) requires that Honorable Minister, it requires that a supplier, provider, or contractor carrying on an activity described in section 1 shall, within 6 months of the commencement of this act, submit to the department a local content plan for review and approval. This provision is intended to ensure that contracts already in existence at the commencement of the act will comply with the provisions of this act. This is a transition provision, and deleting it will create a lacuna as to what happens to contracts that are in existence at the commencement of this act. When will they conform to the provisions of this act? It should be noted that once the act commences, everyone in Uganda, including the entities that are in existence, must comply with it. One of those, including those entities that are in existence, must comply with it. One of those matters of strict compliance involves developing and approving local content plans. Without subclause 2, the act will not apply to those entities that are in existence today, thereby creating a disharmony in the law and a lacuna as to which legal regime will apply those companies that are in existence at the commencement of the act. So it's just a transition clause that we wanted to be part of this.
Yes.
I think there's a contradiction here. Under clause 3, we gave the powers of developing a local content plan to the department under Ministry of Finance. Now, to me, I think it would be requesting the contractors to submit a plan, not to develop. And that's what you're putting under 21, section 21(1). So I think in reality, we should delete, because number 2 is talking about submitting a plan. The development of the plan is already catered for under section 3, under action number 3. So to me, we should be consistent. We delete 1 and retain number 2, section 2.
Enos, there's a difference between the local content plan and then the national local content plan. National is different from the organizational. So there is no contradiction.
They should be submitting their plan that relates to the national content plan, but they should not be developing theirs according to what the bill is telling us.
Chair.
I think they should be submitting.
You know, together, when you amalgamate them, they become the national local content plan. So for you, you're looking at the one of your small institutions Yes.
Chair, Honorable
Madam
Enos is
Chair.
a member of the committee, and the committee came to delete clause 2. And I have provided, he's a member of the committee. And the committee's report is
No,
talking
I
about,
have corrected him. Can we?
the
hear
committee's
from-
report is talking
Can we
about
hear from the
deleting
minister?
clause 2. And I'm saying it is a transition clause to help those, to include the companies that are already under contracts and on the way.
Madam Chair, transitional clauses are always provided for when we are making laws. I therefore would like to persuade the committee chairperson to agree with the mover of the bill, and then we move to the next.
Chair, can you advise the House?
On behalf of the committee, I concede, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 21 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 22.
I put a question that clause 22 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 23.
I put a question that clause 23 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 24.
24. Procurement plan.
Clause 24, procurement planning, is a very minor amendment. Clause 24 is amended in sub clause 2 by substituting for the word bid, the word bidding. And the justification is simple and straightforward. It's just the nomenclature to be used in the bidding.
Nomenclature.
Chair, I agree with the committee.
I put a question that clause 24 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 24 as amended.
I put a question that clause 24 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 25.
I put a question that clause 25 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 26.
I put a question that clause 26 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 27.
I put a question that clause 27 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 28.
I put a question that clause 28 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 29.
I put a question that clause 29 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 30.
I put a question that clause 30 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 31.
31, Chair.
Clause 31, offenses and penalties. Clause 31 is amended, Roman 1 in subclause 1B, by inserting immediately after the word statement, the words in relation to information required under this act. Roman 2, subclause 1J, by substituting the words without authorization from the department, the words contrary to the provisions of this act, and Roman 3 in subclause 1 by deleting paragraph Q and straightforward, just to provide clarity on the nature of false statement that lead to liability under this act. And 2, the offenses proposed similar or relate to the offenses under the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Act.
Chair, I agree with the committee position.
Thank you, Minister.
Madam Chair, I agree with the committee position.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 31 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 31 as amended.
I put a question that clause 31 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 32.
I put a question that clause 32 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 33.
I put a question that clause 33 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 34.
I put a question that clause 34 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 35.
I put a question that clause 35 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 36.
I put a question that clause 36 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 37.
I put a question that clause 37 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 38.
Chair.
Clause 38, requirement to keep records. Clause 38 is amended by deleting subclause 5C. And the justification for this is that the clause gives the minister discretionary powers, and yet there is a need for certainty in legislation, which is not there as it is.
Patrick.
Chair, I agree with the committee position.
Thank you, Minister.
Madam Chair, I agree with
36 be amended as 38 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 38.
As part of the bill, those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 39.
I put a question that clause 39 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 40.
I put a question that clause 40 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 41.
Deletion.
The committee recommends that clause 41, prohibition on foreign technical qualification, that clause is deleted. And the justification, the requirement and this clause is necessary since some professions require international qualification and certification for employment.
Patrick.
Chair, it is very unfair to have a country where the standards for qualifications are determined by the international. Somebody gives you, I need an engineer, Chinese standards, I need an engineer, European standards. We would have desired that the standard is there, at least we have the National Council for Higher Education. Because they deleted the clause 8, 9, 10, and 10, this becomes irrelevant here. I therefore agree with the committee position, but we need to think about this. As a country, there is nowhere people can come here. The project being done is here. Our engineers are here. And for you ask the US standards of an engineer, that is so unfair for a country.
Minister.
Is this something you should debate? Madam Chair, I agree with the committee.
I put a question that clause 41 be deleted as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. 42.
Clause 42.
Clause 42, appeal, substitute the words 5 days. Substitute the words 5 days with the words 10 days. And the justification is to align with other laws that provide for period of appeal.
Chair, I agree with the committee position.
Madam Chair, I want to propose a slight amendment that instead of 10 days, we do 14 days to provide adequate time.
Thank you for uniformity with the other laws. We have 14 days. So let's have uniformity and we have 14 days. I put a question that clause 14 be amended as proposed by the minister. Clause 42 be amended as proposed by the minister with 14 days. Those in favor say unto the contrary nay. Let's have it.
Clause 42 as amended.
I put a question that clause 42 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. Let's have it.
Clause 43.
43.
Clause 43, supremacy of this act. Clause 43 is amended by substituting for subclause 2 the following. 2. This act shall apply to the insurance sector, while the Insurance Act 2015 is silent on the matter. The justification: this is a consequential amendment following the exclusion of the oil and gas sector in clause 1 on application.
Patrick? 43.
Chair, I agree with the committee position.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Madam Chair, I agree.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 43 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 43 as amended.
I put a question and that clause 43 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it. New clause.
The committee recommends that immediately after clause 43, insert the following new clause: international obligations. 1. Notwithstanding section 43, where this act conflicts with an obligation of the Republic of Uganda arising out of an agreement with one or more states or with an international organization, the provision of the agreement shall prevail over this act. 2. Where an agreement referred to in this section contains a preference or preferences in favor of Ugandan entity, a local content entity shall ensure that the applicable preference or preferences are clearly stated in the bidding documents. Justification: to give supremacy to international agreements and obligations. Madam Chair, this clause we're inserting it specifically responding to His Excellency the President's concern that we sometimes have international obligations, loans, grants, donations, where the conditions of accepting them, the conditions of taking them, even actually eligibility, just for you to be able to approach those institutions, is subject, it requires that actually you accept them as they are. You cannot change them sometimes.
Yeah. Madam Chair, to me, I think that clause is redundant because some of these international agreements are ratified by cabinet, some of them are ratified by parliament. And they keep modifying. Like now we are discussing the agreement about Bujagali. When we make adjustment here, then it will have no effect even on the law. So that clause of supremacy and giving power to international agreement that can change every now and then is really redundant and unnecessary because parliament ratifies those agreements, some are ratified by cabinet. I raise my case.
I should have mentioned, Madam Speaker, that actually we are not introducing something new. This is already provided for in the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Act 203 as 4.1, as clause 4.1.
Yes, Chair. Then we don't need
provided for under PPDA.
Then it is
so
redundant.
Why are you putting it here?
Exactly. For that reason, it is redundant.
They are including it because it was there. It was not here. And then the president expressed concern.
That will be a duplication of the laws. So if it is provided for, why would you again provide it for? Then it's redundant, as it is being said. Is there anything new that you're introducing? Can we go to the next item?
Something new, Madam Chair.
Yes, clause 44.
Clause 44.
I put a question that clause 44 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 45.
Chair.
Clause 45 is amended. Clause 45 amendment of schedules. Clause 45 is amended by inserting the words by statutory instrument immediately after the word may. And the justification for this is provide a mechanism through which the minister may amend the schedules. And on this one, Madam Chair, you remember His Excellency the President had concern about Schedule 2, where virtually everything is listed as reserved for Ugandan. So we are saying there should be flexibility on this. It can be amended by the minister, by statutory instrument.
Patrick?
Chair, there are many schedules in our laws, and there are ways how they are amended. I really don't know what the chair is trying to chew with this. And we provided before on how the minister may come to Parliament and make the amendments in the schedules that we provided.
But Chair, more importantly, why use the word may? May is non-committal.
Honorable Chair, are you trying to avoid the minister overcoming into Parliament? Is that what you're trying to avoid?
What we envisage.
Because as of now, the law requires that the minister will come to Parliament to amend the schedules. You want to give the minister powers to amend at any one time he or she feels like without coming to the House? Or Shabi, are you listening?
I'm listening, Chair.
Madam Chair, we envisage the situation where this schedule will be changing from time to time. And we envisage it as actually impossible. The minister having to come to Parliament whenever he needs to change. This may change 2 or 3 times in a year. Would it require that each of those times he reports to Parliament? So we thought that there is need for flexibility.
Wouldn't you say if you want it by statutory instrument, why don't you say that you shall be laid on table for it to take effect?
That's a much better amendment, Madam Chair.
Patrick, is that?
Chair, I don't know why the honorable, I don't know whether he's planning to become a minister and he's so worried that this thing might cause him problems. But ministers have never complained about amending schedules. And there's no problem about that. Why is he so worried as the chair? And I see no purpose in this amendment.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Chair, with my experience in Parliament, I know the interest this debate can bring. I want to say that schedules are part of the Act. So if you want to amend the Act, you come to Parliament. I therefore agree with the Honorable Samba that the clause says.
Stands.
Yes, stands.
I put a question that clause 45 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 46.
I put a question that clause 46 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Clause 2, which we stood over.
Chair, we stood over clause 2 because we wanted a definition and it looks like we carried the committee report. So I agree with the interpretation as provided for in the committee.
Madam Chair, I want to propose a small amendment that we define the department to mean department. Department means the department responsible for procurement, policy, and management under the Ministry of Finance. And we stop there. In other words, we delete designated under section 3 to be responsible for local content and the implementation of this act.
Clause 2 be amended as proposed by the minister. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2 as amended.
I put a question that clause 2 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Schedule 1.
Schedule, I put a question that schedule 1 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Schedule 2.
I put a question that schedule 2 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Schedule 3.
I put a question that schedule 3 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Title.
I put a question that the title stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for resumption of the House.
Honorable Shabe.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I move that the House do resume and the committee of the whole House reports thereto.
Honorable members, I put a question that the House does resume and the committee of the whole House does report thereto. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Report of the committee of the whole House.
Honorable Shabe.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the committee of the whole House has considered a bill entitled the National Local Content Bill 2022 and passed it
with amendment.
with amendment.
Motion for adoption of the report of the committee of the whole House.
Honorable Minister. Oshabe.
Thank you for that promotion, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I move that the report from the committee of the whole House be adopted.
Honorable members, I put a question that the House adopts the report of the committee of the whole House. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Bill's third reading, the National Local Content Bill 2022.
Honorable Oshabe Patrick.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I move that the bill entitled the National Local Content Bill 2022 be read a third time and do pass.
Honorable members, I put a question that the National Local Content Bill 2022 be read the third time and do pass. Those in favor send the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act titled the National Local Content Act 2022.
Silo, the title is Honorable members, the passage of this bill brings us to a total of 12 bills so far passed. But the passage of this bill also gives us the feeling that we feel for our people. Buy Uganda, build Uganda. Boo boo. And I sincerely want to thank the mover of the motion, the proposer, Honorable Chavez. Thank you so much for bringing the idea and turning against all the odds to ensure that this bill has gone through. I want to thank the Committee of Finance for doing all this work, and in a special way, our very good able minister, Honorable Musasizi. Thank you for being there for the house. We're about to give you a gold medal for always being in the house. We want to thank you so much. And in general, the house, you're very beautiful people. You love Ugandans, you passed this bill, and this bill will go a long way to support Uganda. We must make sure that we implement what is in the act. Prime Minister, thank you for helping us. And Honorable Shabbat, you have what to say?
Right, Honorable Speaker, I sincerely want to thank you. Thank you so much. You know, when in the last session, we failed to deal with this law, I thought I'd lost hope to have it. But thank you for picking interest in it, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the first chairperson was the minister now. He processed this law the first time, only that we failed to get chance. The second chairperson is the current chairperson, Honorable. Thank you very much. Very, very much. And I want to thank your committee. Otherwise, the speaker wanted this law so much. You needed a lot of time, but you dealt with it in the shortest time that was. Thank you very much. And honorable members of the Committee of Finance, I really do appreciate you. Honorable Musasa, I want to thank you in your capacity as a minister. There's so many things that I thought you're going to oppose in this, but you've seen the justification. Thank you so much. And I pray that this law, if it is ascended to by the president, it gets implemented. And once it is implemented, we will be doing a lot for the people of Uganda. They will see us. They will know that the people who are here at this time really needed the rest of them. And lastly, Chair, I want to congratulate my partners that supported me in processing this law, specifically the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda, that worked endlessly to ensure that I meet all the stakeholders, that ensured that I meet everyone who has a contribution. There's so many agencies that made a contribution to developing this law. What I had initially was an aspiration, but I really didn't know specifically what can make sense until we met them. And the European Union, for the different meetings, they sponsored for us to be able to achieve this. And thank you very much, Chair. I will always remember remember you and the honorable members, the wonderful honorable members that passed this law with a lot of support. Thank you very much. In Uganda, they say okubasembya okabadde kakodyo. I intended to make you the last people to thank. May God bless you.
Honorable members, we adjourn the house to 2 tomorrow.